International politics is very often like that, you know. It's a bit cynical. We knew very well it was not a democratic government.
By the mid-80s, Gaddafi still has troops in northern Chad. He ignores the agreements with François Mitterrand. The tone escalates between Libya and France.
Pas de forces étrangères au Tchad. Le respect de cet accord est la règle d'or du retour à la paix. La France est entièrement engagée par le respect de cet accord dès lors qu'il serait respecté d'autre part.
But Gaddafi still dreams of conquering Chad. France launches Operation Sparrowhawk in support of Hissène Habré.
L'aviation française a bombardé ce matin un aérodrome au nord du Tchad. C'est un avertissement au colonel Kadhafi.
We showed Gaddafi in that moment that he would not succeed if he tried to play with us.
The French and Americans now share the same position. Libya is a threat to regional stability. It must be stopped. They arm Hissène Habré, who attacks the pro-Libyan forces in the desert. It's the beginning of the Toyota War, and it ends with the taking of Wadidoun, the stronghold of Colonel Gaddafi in Chad.
Hissène Habré, in the end, destroyed the Libyan Armored Corps and killed thousands of Libyan troops. That would not have happened if there had not been effective French-American cooperation. I hope that your viewers appreciate what was accomplished by the Chadians militarily to defend themselves and their country. Anyway, it led to an invitation from the White House to President Habré.
President Habré and I are convinced that the relationship between our countries will continue to be strong and productive. It was an honor and a great pleasure to have had him here as our guest.
Thank you.
Yes. Monsieur le Président, le Tchad, comme les États-Unis, chérit au plus haut point la paix, la liberté, la justice et la protection des droits de l'homme et des peuples.
But after 7 years in power, Habré is obsessed by the threat from within. In 1989, his paranoia reaches new heights when his former chief of staff, Idriss Déby, becomes leader of a rebel group. The men of Déby's tribe, the Zagawa, become targets. In N'Djamena, they're held in a swimming pool, a prison that becomes emblematic of a country plunged into horror.
It's like you go into a hole and there are prison cells everywhere. Length 3.13 meters, width 3.02 meters, height 4.70 meters, and with its small windows that do not let in enough air for the detainees to breathe. It's a death trap.
And then, 2 terrorist attacks strike the West. 2 airplanes explode in flight, one at Lockerbie in Scotland, the other in the desert. The disasters bear the signature of Colonel Gaddafi. The United States now wants to physically eliminate the Libyan leader. And Hissène Habré is happy to oblige. A few kilometers from N'Djamena, the CIA is running a secret camp for the purpose of training former Libyan prisoners.
It's like Reagan. It's really Reagan's style. Habré captured 2,000 or 3,000 prisoners in the war against Gaddafi. These 2,000 or 3,000, we put them in a camp, virtually handed them over to the Americans, so that one day they could become a heavily armed force that could push Gaddafi out of power.
France is not happy that the United States is treading on its toes in Africa. The director of the DGSE goes to Chad to meet Hissène Habré.
So Mr. Habré sees me half an hour late. There's a lot of tension. And by the time I leave, I know I'm basically going to do my best to get him out. Because he wanted to make me feel that he didn't need us anymore. That he didn't need France. That he had another alliance lined up without ever saying anything. He had another alliance, so he could do without us. Right then, he put himself in jeopardy. If we left him alone to play his games and go to war against Gaddafi, it would leave the region in flames, and hell, by extension, the rest of Africa too.
France already had a ready replacement for Habré, his former chief of staff who had fled to Sudan for safety, Idriss Déby. The French troops moved into N'Djamena, keeping their guns at their sides. Hissène Habré fled to Senegal. In his absence, the prisons opened to reveal their grisly secret. The people of Chad discover the extent of the regime's crimes. The new president appoints a board of inquiry to collect testimony from victims and investigate the mass graves. In its final report, the commission recommends putting Hissène Habré on trial. But Idriss Déby does nothing for 20 years.
Idriss Déby's relation to this case has always been very complex. On the one hand, he was Hissène Habré's military chief during one of the bloodiest periods of the Habré government. On the other hand, after he broke from Hissène Habré, many of his best friends and many family members were killed by Hissène Habré. When you're the authoritarian president of a country and simple citizens have brought to justice the previous president, it's an uncomfortable situation. It's a democratic victory that you don't, necessarily want to be encouraging.
I think we need the truth to have the power to change. The past shows we did not care about human beings, but we cannot develop our country without taking care of people first. Development goes hand in hand with humanity. We cannot say, too bad, we killed people, and then put money into development. What are we developing if you do that? And for who?
It is their fault. I believe that both France and the US manipulated Habré. They gave him weapons, so it is their fault. I think that once Hissène Habré's trial is over, we'll have to deal with the powerful countries that were behind him. They contributed materially, financially, and personally to the deaths of Chadian people. They must be held accountable. Let them get ready for that, because we won't leave them alone.